was you actually started, Pete, business?
I was working at John Town on the bank division at the time, and brother Ray was doing safe opening, one of the top safe openers in the country, and he was going into hospital for a month, and asked me to cover his work.
Oh, right.
So I handed him notice in and left with 2 weeks holiday money.
Oh.
But for a month, earned more money than I'd ever earned in my life.
Yeah.
And then when he come back for opening safes, because he used to get a lot of money in them days for opening safes. And then when he come back to work, it all fell down with a bang, and it was back to cutting keys on the breakfast bar back at home.
Because you started off in the docks somewhere, didn't you?
There we started off. The father-in-law, first of all, he let us put some safes on a wharf he had on Isle of Dogs, which was pretty rough. You had to just cover them with a bit of tarpaulin.
Right.
And then we went up market, and he let me use. He had a floating barge by Woolwich Pier.
Yeah.
Why he let me use it, I don't know, because when I was grinding safes, I must have nearly set the thing alight. But he let me use it. But the problem was that it was right next to the pier, and you had the runway down to the barge.
Yeah.
But if you delivered a safe and it was high tide, you had to push the safe uphill to get it on the barge. And if you delivered it at the wrong time, so you had to time your tide. So you delivered a safe when it was low tide. So you walked down to the barge, and then before you took it off the barge, you had to wait till it was high tide. So otherwise you was knackered before you got off the engine.
Were you storing the safes on the barge as well?
Just workshop.
Just a workshop. Yeah.
Storing them on the wharf.
And then from there you went to...
We had cousin Roy that had a scrapyard in Raynham, and the shop come up.
Yeah.
It was a farrier's, and he'd taken another shop on the opposite side of the road and couldn't let it, so we took it. And when we first took it, there was a chap upstairs, Jim, and that did all the did all the draftsmanship for us. Yeah. And previously there'd been an artist there, and everybody was using it for different things. Just get deliveries of books coming in with different names on them and that. So, but that turned out okay. We did turned out a workshop out the back, and had a locksmith shop there. And the locksmith shop started going good, and we were just doing servicing and locksmithing in those days.
And that's when you got in touch with Mark Lane, was it?
Because while we was there, we started doing. Corals was my first big customer. Yeah. And I had a phone call to go and see Ken Tucker, who was the MD of Mark Lane, about the problem they had. Mark Lane would eventually merge with Corals. And he had this problem with hold-ups, and there was the only way that we could stop people getting into the safes. And in those days, all you could think of was the big 2-mechanism or 3-mechanism vault time locks, which were far too expensive and far too big to use on a safe. Yeah. And I remember coming away and saying, I'll think about it, I'll come up with an idea. And we come back and actually discussed it.
That's right, yeah.
And bounced it around to see different ideas of what we could do. And I think we actually patented it, Graham, and I think your name's still on the patent.
It is, yeah.
So,
because I joined you in early 70s, I think it was, I joined, because you'd got me a job with AFA on their banks division. And ended up leaving them and then joining you. And that's when we started to look into that.
We made the first one.
Made the demo one, didn't we? Using an old Sangamo clock, which only had 2 time settings on it, which was all right, but not quite what Corals wanted, was it?
The first one we did, we came to the conclusion that we couldn't fit it onto the door of the safe. It would have to be. There wasn't enough room, and also they wanted to get access to the inner part of the safe to store their float. Yeah. So then we decided the only way to do it was to have it as a separate box inside the safe, where they would keep enough for the float, but all the surplus cash would be posted into there. And with the Sangamo one, or the time lock we used at the time, it was programmed then to only open within certain two windows. I think when there 2 windows.
2 windows,
And during those windows, it could open, but after a 15-minute delay. Yeah. Working on the basis that most robberies are over within a few minutes.
I mean, that was quite successful, even with those limitations that clock had, because you had some letters, didn't you, come from from Corals.
Well, eventually Corals started putting them in, and then that was the result of I think we got a letter from Vic Robinson saying that they'd reduced. I think their losses when they started, even in those days, were probably about 50,000 a year. They were losing through armed hold-ups. Yeah, it was a lot of money, and well, they probably had 1,000 shops, you know, so percentage-wise. But we put them in there, and he sent me a letter saying that for having the inserts installed, it had cut their losses by, I think it was 38% or something like that. Yeah. But it wasn't just coincidence, because Hills, Tote and Ladbrokes were still losing the same volume. Money, yeah. So then, when they saw the records of that, William Hill wanted them, and we started installing them in William Hills. And then Tote did it, and I think we got a letter from Tote, but it's been lost somewhere over the years from Joe Scanlon, who's then become managing director of the Tote, to say that they were making similar savings. Yeah. So it was.
The trouble with that Sangamo clock, it was quite a big clock, wasn't it? Even inside that unit. And I remember then we spoke to Smith Industries that were doing a smaller type of time clock, 12-volt operational, and they could have more settings on it. And we changed over to them using that type of clock. So it was progressing throughout the years, really, up to sort of today's.
I mean, you didn't in those days. You didn't, you didn't have the thing to do a chip to do that for you. All that to be done
hardwired, wasn't it?
But in those days, that was the early days of chips, I think. Yeah. So we couldn't get anything to do it. We probably wouldn't even have known what to do anyway, to be honest with you. But it was as an insert we did it, but the trouble with the insert was it had to be made to fit into the smallest safe. And then when you put it into a bigger safe, there was a lot of wasted space was there. So we started changing to making top compartments instead of having an insert.
Gave more room inside the safe.
Yeah. And then but we had to make them up and go and drill them and fit them on site.
Yeah, that was quite hard work actually fitting it, because we had to actually physically drill a hole straight through the back of the safe to get the low voltage cable out. So what was the main security risks at the time then when the inserts first come out?
I think that the company started off doing locksmithing and fitting locks to houses, but then as we started to get the Corals and the William Hills and the Totes, it became realised that they were really getting turned over with people waiting until there was only one manager in the shop late at night, and then going in and making him open the safe and taking all the cash. So what we did, we obviously got the inserts, but with the insert, to stop the managers being put under duress, we actually got a sign made, stuck on all the doors. So on all the doors of the betting shops, they had a sign saying all the cash on these premises is protected by time lock. Staff cannot open it. And that seemed to stop a lot of raids before they even started to go in.
Just read the sign too. Yeah, because it's got one printed on here, isn't there, on this brochure? Yeah.
But we actually stuck one on the shop door.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So how did the insert sort of develop from this to the top compartment, and it went to, I think, the Time Master, wasn't it? It was called.
Well, that was a long way.
That was a long way further on.
That was a long way further on, but the insert developed to the top compartment because saving space. And also meant that they could use the bottom of the safe, because the trouble with the insert was that it keeps sticking stuff on top of the insert.
And they was losing it, weren't they, down the
side?
Yeah,
and they're losing down the side and things like that. So the top compartment was a much more space effective. And that was going there. But we kept trying to develop, moving along with it to go to different technology, and then we got to the Time Master. But that was, I think, slightly different, because the Time Master was capable of being used on the door of the safe as well.
That improved it quite a lot. But then, what else was the company sort of doing, as well as, I mean, was concentrating a lot on the inserts, but...
We were still doing a lot of security work on business premises, grills, shutters, that type of thing.
Because you won the contract for Trust House 40, didn't you?
We got Trust House 40,
Which really did take off.
Yeah, we used to do their safes and their security work.
Such a big group, like there was Little Chef, Happy Eaters, Welcome Break. And, you know, there was quite a few companies involved there, wasn't there?
Yeah, we got involved with 14, yeah.
Yeah, KFC.
Yeah, well,
Which
KFC, we
you
got
still got
KFC.
today.
We got KFC through 14.
Yeah.
We've still got today.
Still got
and
them today.
surprisingly, KFC use all our time delays.
That's right, yeah,
You know,
yeah,
as well as the bookmakers.
yeah,
So it's actually spread.
yeah. Because it
Spread to
didn't
my
only
team.
spread, obviously, with the bigger groups, but some of the smaller groups, like Coombs and that, they started to have time delays.
Oh
as
yeah,
well,
I think
didn't
we used to exhibit at the bookmaker show every year.
they? Yeah,
And gradually we picked up the smaller
Smaller
groups.
groups.
Like Richard Manning was one.
that's
you know,
right,
and,
yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah.
we picked up most of, I think
There was
most
one
of
up
the
in
bookmakers.
Liverpool, wasn't there? What was that group? Stanley.
Stanley Racing. Yeah, we got them as well. Yeah,
that's
yeah.
right, yeah.
In fact, I remember going to Ireland and seeing Stanley's, and then he come over to the bookmaker show,
Yeah,
and I think we had a floor safe there, which we'd got from Fawns or something, with
Yeah.
a deposit floor safe.
yeah,
And he said, "Oh, how does it work?" He said, "Oh, you just put your money in."
Yeah.
And he got this massive, great wad out, and, he tried to stick it in, and it got stuck in the
Yeah.
safe. We couldn't get it in there. But
do you remember
got-
those ones up in Glasgow, Pete? The little bookmakers, when you go in, you did have sandwiches and a cup of tea in their office.
Yeah.
Can't think of their name though.
Smiths, the
Was
Smith
that
brothers.
Smith Bookmakers? Was
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
John Smith and
John Smith, yeah.
two
Yeah.
brothers there. They say, "Oh,
More
busy
like
to talk to you now. Go downstairs, sit at the table. We'll be down in a minute."
Yeah.
You go down there, there'll be about 3 other people sitting around the table
That's
with
it,
all this
yeah.
grub coming up as well. Yeah. I always remember I went into one of their shops. I'm fitting insert in one of their shops with this John Smith.
Yeah.
And it was different to other betting shops. This was in a real rough area, and he had the shop in the middle, and we're sitting there talking, and he's seen the bloke outside drinking beer.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So he walked
yeah.
outside, just walked round, didn't say that, just picked up his can, come back, ticked it down the drain.
Yeah.
The bloke's gone to get his drink, grabbed the bloke next to him.
Yeah.
And that's actually- but I
was
think
a
he
real-
had such a good relationship there
Yeah,
that they
yeah.
didn't cause him any trouble at
No,
all. You know?
that really was a Glasgow family business, that was, wasn't it, with them? He was sort of part of the family almost, because you went to his house as well,
Yeah,
didn't you?
yeah.
Yeah. That was good.
Yeah, we got good friends, yeah.
Yeah, it was a few years later that you sort of changed and started to go into making bandit screens and that, and installing for KFC as well.
I think the business then was going the same way the business is now. It's never been driven by hard salesmen. It's all been having a good relationship with a customer, and the customer turning around and saying, "You're doing a great job for us. We've got a problem on this side.
That's right.
Why can't you help us on this side?" So
Yeah.
everything, it was never the company going, "Oh, we want to, there's an opening there, we'll go for that." It was always the customer saying,
They've
"We've
got a
got a problem. Can we help you with it? We trust you as a company.
Yeah.
Can you do something for
That's
us on
right.
it?" And that led into bandit screens. It led through to other developments as
Yeah.
well. No, I think it started off with Saver Centre. Saver Centre got us to do their cash office,
Yeah.
and that's when we first went into bullet resistant.
Yeah.
And it was, I always remember the first one was up in Washington,
Yeah.
near Newcastle,
That's right, yeah.
and we had a penalty clause in it as well.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember brother Ted thought we was mad to take it,
Yeah.
and we sent a few people up there.
That's right. I
And we
remember
actually
going
did
up
it,
there.
and we did a good job on it.
Yeah.
And then we got all the other Saver Centres.
That's right, yeah.
And then, because we were doing the bullet resistant, we got, I think, the Tunisian embassy to go and do work for the Tunisian embassy. And we did the bullet resistant and screen there.
Yeah.
And then that led us to getting introduced with the diplomatic police. And then we started doing a lot of embassy work there. So the firm suddenly went into the bullet
Even
resistant
done,
side.
Bank Lumi.
Yeah, Bank
Wasn't
Lumi.
it? Bank, wasn't it? An Israeli bank done the big bandit screens for that.
Yeah, did a couple of their branches.
In London, yeah. Yeah.
So that was a complete new side
Yeah.
of the firm.
And then as time went on, I suppose you started to move into the CCTV side and
Well,
the
I think,
alarms.
we've skipped a bit of the, because when we were at High Street North, we then took the premises at Pylon Trading Estate,
Yeah,
where we had a big unit,
yeah.
and we started doing our own carpentry side because of the counters
That's right, yeah.
and the screens there.
Yeah.
So that was a big side of the business.
Yeah. Something else we forgot, was when you started at High Street, well, not long after you'd been at High Street North, we've got the little factory around the corner who's producing the Terry safes.
Oh yeah, that
Terry
was, well,
Marlborough,
that was another
Trafalgar.
thing, see, because we, as we got in with the bookmakers, they suddenly started saying, well, why can't you supply us with safes?
Yeah.
And at that time, we were buying safes off a Chubb and getting perhaps 25% discount.
Yeah.
And Chubbs were going to Corals and Hills and saying, well, we'll give you 20% if you buy off of us.
Yeah.
So it was a no win.
Yeah.
So at that time as well, it was a monopoly. I think you had Chubbs, Fichet Bosch, and probably
Some-
one other
yeah,
company.
Rosengreen.
Perhaps there. So it was a monopoly on the market. So we actually designed and made our own safe and got it through the insurers, which was
Yeah, that's right,
a
yeah.
real incredible thing. I remember sort of sitting down for a day with a concrete bloke just telling me what we can put in the concrete, what we can't put in the concrete. And
Because you
we
produced
made-
quite a few of them, really.
Yeah, it's
Quite
called
a
the
few
Terra
safes.
Safe, and it got accepted, and it's still, I think, on the European ratings.
Yeah.
And although I don't think we made a great deal of money from it, we broke the monopoly,
yeah.
and a few other companies then followed on, like the SMPs
Yeah.
and the SLS,
Yeah.
started making their own safes after that.
That's right, yeah.
We'd broken a monopoly, but it got us established as more than just a small locksmith.
We was a
Suddenly a
manufacturing
safe
company.
manufacturer.
Yeah.
And then that started to lead to
Yeah.
other work.
Yeah. Do you remember when you first developed the smoke canisters to go inside the safes? The problems we had with those doing that?
What it was, we were trying to develop an idea that if people attack safes, there would be either the glass plate or some device that would activate a smoke dye. So if you're trying to drill open the safe and or blow it or attack it in any way, you could set off this smoke device.
Yeah.
And that would not only stain all the contents, it would actually
Dye
be
the money
belching
as
out,
well.
belching out through the edges of the doors
Yeah.
and fill the room with black smoke. And it
making
was
it
like,
impossible
in
to
fact, we
work.
did it on Tomorrow's World. We actually
Did you?
presented it on Tomorrow's World.
Yeah.
And on the television there, and it worked quite well. Just
Yeah.
a little thing setting it off.
Yeah.
But then when we come back, you were smoking a pipe at the time.
Oh, yeah, they got hold of that,
And we
didn't
got
they?
hold of your pipe and filled it up with this black smoke
Made me
stuff.
cough.
And then all run out the room while you filled the room with smoke.
Smoke up from the pipe. Knew nothing. I thought, what smell is tobacco? It's all pretty strong. Well, they did get up to some tricks, didn't they, the engineers?
And they followed on from that, because if you remember that, not the same dye, but we then got another dye to use for the woolage. They were getting safes attacked
Yeah.
and taken.
Yeah.
And so we made a dye there, a red dye, that if they tried to rock the safe, if they did anything to upset, we had a,
Yeah.
what's the thing they measure for alarms?
Can't remember
Well,
now.
anyway, a sensor there that would be activated if they tilted the safe.
Yeah.
And then that would dye all the contents and belt the
Yeah.
smoke out, which was great as long as one didn't go wrong.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
we were cleaning the shop out afterwards.
Yeah.
But that worked quite well.
Yeah. And we also had, do you remember the film companies used to contact the
We
firm,
did one
didn't they?
for
To supply
they were
the
doing
safe.
they were doing the Ian McShane film called Dirty Money. In fact, I saw it a few weeks ago.
Oh, right.
Paul sent me a copy of it
Yeah.
on email, and they wanted to make these where they were going through the cellars and then trying to get through the wall to attack the safes.
Yeah.
So first of all, we had to make up a thermic lance for them to use,
Yeah.
and Vic went down.
It's what they used to burn through the safes with,
Yeah, he
wasn't it?
went down there,
Thermal
but
lance.
they just filmed it. They couldn't
Yeah.
use it in the time, but it's part of the film with him using the thermic lance.
Yeah.
And then we got some old safes and cut a hole in the front
Yeah.
and put a little tack weld on them, and then stopped them up and painted them.
Yeah.
And then in the film, they show somebody going there around with
Yeah.
a burner gun, and then a big chunk of the safe falls out, and they're getting
They used to put the comm locks on the safes, you know, and you see him doing all this leaning up against the listening to the comm lock. There was nothing on the back of it, was it? It was just a dial on the front of the door.
But that was we went down to the film set. I remember took Claire down
Yeah.
there when they
And
had
we-
all the film set set up.
We brought a big safe back, come back to the yard, didn't it? And when we opened it up, it had all this false money inside. Remember them, the little bundles of false money? Used to have a copied bit on the top of a pound note, I suppose. Then you just had a wad of paper that looked like, so it looked like money, like, you know, false money. So then when I opened it up, It looked like it was full of money. Surprised how much the industry's changed really over the years from when you first started to today really. There's so many different changes and innovations that have happened. Do you think it could have gone any different to what it has,
I
or?
think it's obviously gone, technology's moved on and electronic security has become a bigger part.
Yeah.
But what's really nice to see is that the firm has stayed to the same sort of devotion to customers, you know, that everything we've done has been driven by customers. And even listening to Peter talk now, the jobs we're getting are a follow-on of customers saying, well, we've got this problem, can you do this, and we can do that problem, or we've got a problem with somebody who's doing this, who's ripping us off, can you help us out?
Yeah.
And that's really, if there's a good legacy, it's that the firm's now has carried on in the same format, the same devotion from the boys and the people working there.
Mainly
you know?
because it was a family company or family firm, that you always had that loyalty there to the customers, and everyone sort of knew what was going on.
Sometimes in the generations, that gets lost, doesn't it, in the second
Yeah.
generation? But it's been brilliant. They've carried on with the same ideas that I had in those early days.
Yeah.
And obviously it works with the customers because they're getting the same reaction from the customers that we got in those early days.
Yeah.
So we're obviously doing something good.
To be continuing.
Long may it continue.